Hi, everyone.
What's up?
Hope you had a good weekend or middle of the week, depending. Or not. I mean, like, if it was mediocre, that's fine. I don't need to feel like you're pressured or anything, right? Like, you don't have to, like, put on a good face for our sake.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get the content either way. Don't you worry. Just open up your little content hole and we'll... What's up? I found a new thing. It's called forcefeedingcontent.asmr.
According to Yukitaka Oji-sama, this is what happened. While his manager buddy was in a bar thinking of a plan, a man bound in rope suddenly appeared, lying on the ground out front. This man showed signs of severe physical trauma and was trembling in fear. As they interrogated him, he started to talk openly about being a rounder. The one who brought the man to the bar was a woman with braided hair. According to the barkeeper, she took off on a bicycle without so much as a word after she dropped her captive off out front.
Don't mind me, I got some time machines to go fuck with. It's complicated.
The identity of this woman is unknown.
Oh, but one important thing, Makaze Kurisu sucks.
Achoo. Regardless, this provided us with new information about the Rounders. Given that the woman offered him up like a present, it's possible that it may be a trap. However, still, the man revealed that the Rounders are divided into independent groups, completely unaware of the other Rounders' operations. The captured Rounder also told us that someone named FB is in charge. Facebook doesn't give the Rounders orders directly, instead choosing to operate through their underlings.
She captured Moeka!
Wait.
Oh no!
She captured... It was established, though, she captured some guy.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Their objective, originally, was to secure an old PC called the IBM 5100. As of yesterday, the man told us, a special Rounder task force from France had entered Japan. Their objective was to raid the Future Gadget Laboratory, securing the Time Leap machine and its developers. As for the captured Rounder, his division was told to spread across Akihabara to prevent said developers, namely we lab members, from leaving the city. He also confirmed our fears. Mayuri and Hashida had been captured by the Rounders and taken away, though the man doesn't know exactly where.
That time machine, I don't remember what voice I gave this dude. It was over a day ago. That time machine you built, the Time Leap machine, that was supposed to be secured by the Special Task Force.
That's close enough, I think.
Yeah, whatever. Fortunately, I have a friend at a security company, and they're guarding the Oyama building. Imagine the Rounders took notice.
Which means coming to Ferris-san's home was the right choice. Staying at the lab could have led to a confrontation with the Rounders coming to take the Time Leap machine. I shudder thinking about how that encounter would have ended.
But where? Where have they taken Mayushi and Darunyan?
Ferris was driven to tears by her father's story.
I can't even drive, and yet here I am.
It doesn't seem like... Well, she was driven to tears.
Oh, fair. Thanks, chauffeur.
It doesn't seem like she can just stand by knowing that... She can just stand by knowing that her friends are in danger.
Got it.
And it doesn't seem like I can get to the end of this garden path sentence.
Right?
But it seemed like she had no idea what to do.
God, we are nothing if not professionals here.
If we can capture this Rounder named Facebook... I think out loud, knowing full well how difficult that would be. We don't have anywhere close to the amount of information we'd need. We don't even know if this Facebook is in Japan or not.
I heard they're in the metaverse, Nyan.
If only Hashida were here. I know I'm asking for the impossible, but I'm sure that Hashida's excellent hacking would be able to find us a loophole. Hacking isn't solely about remotely accessing a device or source of information on a computer network. It's about seeing through the opponent's security or passwords and outwitting someone else to find a route in. In that sense, Hashida might have been able to come up with a unique approach for the mess of a situation we're in. one that would defy the Rounder's predictions. But he isn't here. It's ironic that we need Hashida's skills in order to find Hashida himself. His contributions to the time leap machine were immense. He was a necessary component of our lab, just in a different way than Okabe.
Okabe just mostly stands around and makes arm gestures.
I just realized Okabe is the party bard. He's there to be the face and provide inspiration when people need it most.
Oh my god, you're absolutely right.
I try to brainstorm, but can't come up with any good ideas. Yukitaka Oji-sama picks up the phone once more.
It appears the situation may be out of our hands.
In a way, he sounded a little defeated, but his expression was not that of someone who had given up.
Papa, what should we do?
I'm glad you asked, Rumiho. Remember this, if you cannot solve a problem on your own, the best thing to do is seek help from someone you trust. This is a rule of thumb in the business world. This is common knowledge. This is common knowledge in business circles. Anyone could tell you this. Just look at how I asked the manager for help earlier. Humans are incomplete beings on their own. That said, they are surrounded by people, society, and history. The experiences they accumulate, the people around them, and the environment into which they are born all contribute to who that person is. I exist as I am now because of the professor's guidance, because of Shoichi, because of Rumiho, because of the town of Akihabara.
Yukitaka Oji-sama continues to say that this is the same for CERN and the Committee of 300.
Well, that's a very interesting wallpaper you have on your phone there.
Sure is.
You want to explain that, or?
Not at all.
All right.
No matter how powerful of an entity each may be, they are not completely disconnected from the rest of the world.
This is a map of the Illuminati gathering around what appears to be the English Channel.
Absolutely, yeah. They fucking love Calais.
Apparently.
At least some of their number must have family members. They must have connections to their country, their land, or other human beings. Don't tell me I'm wrong if Calais isn't there. Even America, for all its military might, cannot act unrestricted within the modern international society. Even the numerous dictatorships that existed throughout history have connections. However cruel a tyrant may have been, they were not always able to exert their will 100% of the time.
Oh my god, that says Freemason up there is what that says, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that says P2 down there?
Oh, yeah. Propaganda Due.
I don't know what that one is.
You do. You watched listen to a Behind the Bastards about them.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, that one Italian Freemason lodge.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry. I didn't connect it with the name. Sorry.
And this is where their weakness lies. If the Committee of 300 is some kind of European organization, then that must mean that there are also Indian and Middle Eastern secret societies. Japan, China, and Russia also have their organizations and industries that can impact the international community. If those organizations can be led to mobilize in some way, even if we can't make CERN or the Committee of 300 abandon or change their plans, we might be able to restrict them into making adjustments.
Needless to say, this may not turn out in our favor, but still, better than doing nothing. Yup.
And with that, Yukitaka Oji-sama started making calls. He mostly conducted his business in English, but occasionally would use languages I couldn't understand.
Like English. Wait, no, not for Kurzu. Young Mistress Makise-sama.
Ferris-san and I were just sitting and watching Yukitaka Oji-sama place his phone calls in a daze, but Kuroki-san's words snapped us out of our reverie.
If I may, I would suggest saving your energy. For now, please get some rest.
But
just hope that this isn't the timeline where they bring in the helicopters.
I can understand Kuroki-san's perspective. If Yukitaka Oji-sama intends to rely on his connections to take action, there really isn't much the two of us can do.
Actually, we're kind of sitting ducks out here in the big, with all the bay windows and stuff in this. And if they cut off access to the bottom of the building, then... You know what? I'm beginning to second guess our whole plan of attack here.
However, given the situation at hand, I just didn't feel like resting.
Nyan? Kunyan, Kuroki's right. You should rest a bit.
Ferris says as she pulls my arm. But
Do you know how pale you look right now, Kunyan? You look like Kyoma. You have to rest.
Huh? Pale? I didn't realize it myself, but I must look pretty tired for Ferris-san to bring it up. Now that she mentions it, I guess I did stay up all night. I didn't even have dinner. To top it off, there's the summer heat to deal with. Coupled with the dire situation, that's a recipe for fatigue.
We can't help Kyoma, Mayushi, and Darunyan if we lose you. You need to stay healthy for Kyoma's sake.
Hearing it out loud, I finally realize how irrational I'm being. Ferris-san is absolutely right. I can't do anything for Okabe or Mayuri if I'm collapsed. Reluctance, uncertainty, and hesitancy fill my heart. But I'm a researcher who values reason above all else. So I should act accordingly.
I'm going to stare into your soul for a bit, all right?
Oh yeah, I forgot that you can do that.
It's not can, I must.
Understood. Ferris, Kuroki-san, thank you both. I think I will take a rest.
Or incapable of not? There's a different way of phrasing it.
A bedroom is prepared for you next to Okabe-san's. Please allow me to escort you.
I'll let you know if anything happens, Kunyan.
Please.
Whoop.
After I thank her, I follow Kuroki-san to my bedroom and... Kunyan? Well, that's a strange new nickname.
No take-backsies.
I couldn't sleep. Even though my body and soul are completely exhausted, my mind is still wide awake. And I can't fall asleep no matter what I do. Tossing and turning in bed, I try all sorts of relaxation and breathing techniques to guide myself to sleep. Nothing works. Mayuri, Hashira, Okabe.
Yo.
Staying still only invited unpleasant thoughts. My imagination runs wild with worst-case scenarios, each one making my body stiffen. I keep trying to shake the thoughts out of my head. I sigh helplessly. All I want to do is help my friends, but I don't have the ability to actually do that. For now, I need to place my hope in Yukitaka Oji-sama and make sure I'm rested up when we have some leads to follow. And I understand that. I should understand it at least, but it doesn't help. Not at all. I'm face to face with my own helplessness, my lack of experience.
If you cannot solve a problem on your own, the best thing to do is to seek help from someone you trust. This is a rule of thumb in the business world.
Yukitaka Oji-sama's words from earlier echo in my head. These words were meant to explain our next steps to us, but also to give us a fair warning. There's always the possibility that we can screw up and make things more complicated. If our impatience got the best of us and we stormed out just to be captured by lingering rounders, all of Yukitaka Oji-sama's planning would go down the drain. There's really nothing we can do. Our only option is to rely on Yukitaka Oji-sama, and the best way to help him is to stay put. This is how it should be, but in the end, I can't do anything. I'm embarrassed by my own immaturity. I'm wishing for power I haven't earned, like a child. People should strive to achieve whatever they can within the range of their abilities and experiences. By running society in this way, each individual would be able to find their own niche. If everybody had equal limitless power, human individuality would be meaningless. I lived in America, where different cultures are accepted and celebrated. I know how dull a world without difference would be. But at the same time, it's also true that I haven't matured enough to simply accept my place in a rigid society. My professors and upperclassmen would probably say that my immaturity is part of my personality, and that there are things that only immature people can do. As I vocalize my thoughts, I realize something. Professors and upperclassmen? Once again, Yukitaka Oji-sama's words echo in my mind.
Hello, it's me again. Humans are incomplete beings on their own, but they are surrounded by people, society, and history. The experiences they accumulate, the people around them, and the environment into which they are born all contribute to who that person is. I exist as I am now because of the professor's guidance, because of Shoichi, because of Rumiho, because of the city of Akihabara. I said this like 10 minutes ago.
I sit bolt upright in bed.
I see we're using the Kurbasu's hotel room. Is that what this is? I think? Pretty sure this is Kurbasu's hotel room background, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Just as Yukitaka Oji-sama has his connections, I have my own. While I may come from a different background and age group than Yukitaka Oji-sama, I am not alone. Papa and Mama, Ferris-san, Yukitaka Oji-sama, Kuroki-san, my professors and upperclassmen at Victor Kondoria, Okabe, Hashida, Mayuri. There are many people around me, and if Yukitaka Oji-sama can reach out to people for help, I can too. It's just after 11 now, meaning it's morning in America. Reagan voice. I quickly made a list of people I could ask for help, given the time of day.
The visceral thing just went through. I flinched at the thought.
I could only come up with 1 or 2 people, though. But then I realized something. Today is the professor's lecture meeting. My timing couldn't be worse. One of my former teachers at Victor Kondoria's Neuroscience Institute is presenting his research results to professors from other universities today. That alone is going to make him extremely unlikely to be answering phone calls or checking emails. What's worse, I couldn't even get a hold of my upperclassmen, who normally pick up in no time. I have no other personal contacts at Victor Kondoria.
Really? That's just rude. What am I, chopped liver? Oh, right, hold on, I don't exist yet. Bye.
What the hell? Why now, of all times? And then I remember something that Okabe said.
I'm not committing to that voice, by the way. When Hyajo shows up, I'll remember what it is. I'll think of something new. It's as if Mayuri's death is the will of the world.
Will of the world? Time paradoxes. Is it possible that I'm also under the influence of this so-called will of the world? Okabe said that even if the Rounders did not directly attack, Mayuri will, for some reason or other, die. No matter how many times he repeated the day, no matter how many things he tried, it was imminent. The will of the world. Natural providence. Okabe told me he felt something that could only be described as fate. Is this the same force that keeps me from reaching anyone for help, no matter how hard I try? Is the will of the world, as Okabe called it, hindering my actions? No, it can't be. I refuse to accept the idea that we live in a predetermined world. The idea that our fates are set is too absurd to believe. Meaning that something is behind this phenomenon. And if so, we can figure out what it is and resolve it to escape this hellish situation. The problem is, how can we identify the cause? And when we do, how can we remedy it? Is it even possible for me to solve this on my own? I tightly gripped the cell phone that I used to place my calls. Try as I might, I couldn't come up with a good idea. No sooner had I caught a glimpse of hope than it faded away. If this were mere research, I could simply walk away, knowing that discovery is a slow process, but not this time. What can I do?
Nyeh.
I half open my cell phone absent-mindedly and see a certain word in the contacts list. Papa. I tried contacting him a few days ago, but he refused to talk to me. But right now I need anyone's help, and if that person is Papa, then all the better. I entered his phone number and pressed call. But no answer, of course. Nobody would pick up at this hour. Or it might be because it's me. Papa does not like me. No, he may as well hate me. There's no way he would answer the phone for the likes of me. I close my cell phone and unconsciously pull myself upright. I then proceed to exit the guest bedroom and gently open the door of the room next door. This room is also as dark as the one previous, but from the sound of his breath alone, I knew who was in there.
Science. Science.
Okabe? Okabe, I'm sorry. What should I do? Okabe is so worn out. He's suffered so much for so long. I want to save him, but I don't know how. I don't know what to do for the person I love. I'm completely at a loss. Some genius I turned out to be. I'm confident that I've been working my hardest the whole time. I've done everything I can and have even produced results. But at this moment, none of that has any meaning. I can't make Papa happy. I can't save my friends. I'm useless to the one I love. I gently touch Okabe's cheek. It feels like he's lost weight somehow. He might have burned an extreme amount of calories working his brain at such a high capacity after receiving his future memories. Or maybe it's because after dashing out of the lab, he ran all around Akihabara in desperation. Either way, it's a painful sight. I'm sorry. I'm so powerless. There's nothing I can do. I notice tears falling from my eyes. They land on my hand and drip down, wetting my fingertips on Okabe's cheek. No, I can't cry. I'm not... Okabe's the one suffering the most. I can't cry here. That's right. The one who's in the most pain, who has suffered the most heartbreak, is the one who has witnessed Mayuri's death over and over again. Okabe. But that means... An image emerges from the back of my mind. The time leap machine. The time machine built under Okabe's direction. Right now I can't think of a way to save Hashira and Mayuri. But what if I changed the past? What if I used the time leap machine to get us out of this situation? No. I do not fully understand under what rules and logic are involved with traveling through time and changing the past. So far, through our D-mail experiments, we've learned that modifying past events can significantly change the world. However, most of us cannot perceive these changes. All of this information comes from Okabe, the only person with his reading Steiner ability. If he were lying about this or simply deluded, this hypothesis would collapse immediately. That said, the reason we've come this far is because I believe in his abilities and claims. They're the basis of the time leap machine, after all. Even then, changes in time are very subjective and vague, and only Okabe is capable of observing them. In other words, even if I were to change the past, only Okabe would notice. If I changed the past, my memories would be erased the moment the world changed. And if Mayuri's life were put in danger again, I would not have the knowledge to keep her from dying.
So she's operating under the assumption that using the time leap machine would have a similar effect on her as sending D-mails, since she hasn't tried it herself yet.
Mm-hmm.
So she has no way of knowing that. Yeah, if she did time leap, that she absolutely would retain her memories.
Which is puzzling because the premise of the machine is that it transmits the memories.
True.
And the idea was, if I changed the past, I couldn't know, because only Okabe can experience that, which is true, but it doesn't seem like that would be a blocker to transmitting your memories and having them.
True, but I can understand why she makes that assumption, given all of her experimental data so far.
Given that she's already died over and over, it seems especially risky. The bottom line is, under the current circumstances, changing the past doesn't make sense without Okabe's involvement. Without the reading Steiner, changing the past is essentially meaningless. Only Okabe can do this, which would mean the burden is entirely on him. It would be too much for Okabe to take. I have to think of an alternative. After muttering that to myself, I realized that the frustration I had been feeling just a minute ago has been somewhat alleviated. I still feel a little impatient, but it isn't clouding my thoughts anymore. Maybe seeing your face helped, Okabe. I try to joke, but there's a ring of truth to my statement. Suddenly, exhaustion and sleepiness come crashing down on me. I should go back to my room, I'll get some sleep, then come up with an idea to fix all of this. I quietly move away from Okabe so as not to wake him up, then return to my own bedroom next door. The next morning, after waking from a good night's sleep, I lightly freshen up my appearance and head to the living room. There I see the exhausted Yukitaka Oji-sama, who looks to have stayed up all night making phone calls, and Kuroki-san, who stood by his side in support. The news is on the big screen TV, perhaps to provide them with alternate sources of information.
Ah, Kurusu-chan, good morning.
Good morning. How are things going?
Conspiracy wars. Well, not as well as I'd like.
It seems that Yukitaka Oji-sama has infiltrated the Rounders organization through negotiation and compromise. He's been able to learn the location of several lower-level members, as well as a few agents that pass orders along to them. In some cases, he's even been able to capture them, but he's yet to obtain any information regarding Facebook, or Mayuri and Hashida's whereabouts.
If their confidentiality and haste are any indication, it seems that this particular mission is of high importance to him.
In front of Yukitaka Oji-sama lay several documents and maps with numerous red markings on them. A quick look revealed that these were not only maps of Japan, but of the Far East, Southeast Asia, America, and Europe. There were large-scale maps as well as more detailed ones. Several points had been marked as predicted locations, some of which, it seemed, had already been investigated.
Normally, after being pushed this far, we'd see the opponent either strike back or try to negotiate.
According to Yukitaka Oji-sama, the fact that they hadn't done either indicates how high priority their mission is. Sometimes, when prioritizing a single objective, an organization will consider all related losses necessary to its success. Yukitaka Oji-sama said that the Rounders' response, or lack thereof, to his actions, was in line with this strategy. For CERN, the Rounders' governing body, and the Committee of 300 who controls them, gaining sole control of the time machine must be an uncompromisable goal. If one can control time, they can manipulate the past to redo any and all operations until their success ensured. For them, nothing is impossible. As I said before, this is the power of a god. Who in their right mind would simply hand it over to someone else? If they wish to establish themselves as rulers of the world, their stance is a matter of course. The problem is that puts the rest of the world at a major disadvantage. Unsurprisingly, Yukitaka Oji-sama is no longer calm and collected. Are you okay?
Nah, I keep applying pressure, but it isn't working. Facing off against the Committee of 300 directly wouldn't be a wise decision either.
Although he said this, his expression told me that he hadn't ruled the idea out.
Papa?
Ah, Romeo, good morning.
Ferris-san made her way into the living room and seemed to grasp what was going on just by looking at Yukitaka Oji-sama. Sitting beside Yukitaka Oji-sama, she leans toward him and embraces his arm.
I have worried you, haven't I? Don't worry, your papa's still okay.
Okay.
Ferris-san looked conflicted. She's so worried about Mayuri, Hashida, and Okabe that she can hardly stand it, but she's also worried about her father working himself to the bone to save them. Perhaps Yukitaka Oji-sama is the type to push himself. Whether fighting for his daughter's friends or for his beloved town of Akihabara, there are certain things he can't back down from. So it seems Ferris-san is worried that he'll push himself beyond his limits. But at the same time, maybe we can't save Mayuri and Hashida without Yukitaka Oji-sama doing that. I imagine this is quite the dilemma for her.
Thank you, Romeo.
Said Yukitaka Oji-sama as he caressed Ferris-san's face. Then, as he reached for the phone to contact another negotiator, a piece of news appeared on the flat-screen TV.
And in our next story, early this morning at the Kasai Rinkai Park near the ocean, a salaryman found a van floating in the ocean while he was fishing. TV news footage of
The TV shows footage of Tokyo Bay.
Takaba's face and portrait are not shown for this line.
As the footage continues, a box-shaped van is pulled out of the water by a crane. The crane slowly moves the van over toward land and places it on a blue tarp. For some reason, this makes me incredibly uneasy. I don't like it. Are my nerves being hypersensitive? Unpleasant thoughts rush through the back of my mind.
I mean, did she read the Chiron? Oh, no, the Chiron's kind of hidden behind the text box. I can understand why you missed that.
They're thoughts I don't want to think, but I can't help it. Ha!
Lol.
The corpse of a teenage female was found inside the vehicle. Police are now rushing to identify the corpse.
The inorganic, emotionless voice of the newscaster resonates from the TV, and then some of the items left in the car were displayed on the screen.
Huh?
Ferris-san stands up without a word, her eyes open wide as she witnesses something unimaginable. A throbbing sound pulses loudly in my ear. No way, no way! On the screen were a recognizable hat and a green cell phone, both of which once belonged to someone we knew very well.
This can't be real.
Ferris-san shakes her head like a child would. I don't want to accept this. I can't. This is something I should have been prepared for. After what Okabe told me, I should have predicted this. But neither of us were able to accept it. There was no way we could. Ferris-san and I were both so stunned that we couldn't take our eyes off the screen. That's why we didn't realize.
Mayuri?
That he had woken up and had entered the living room.
Mayuri?
Okabe! I turn around to face the voice behind me. There was Okabe, whiter than a piece of paper.
Mayuri! 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 I failed again!
Holding his head in his hands, he drops to his knees as if to repent. Hearing him scream as if his spirit had been torn to 1,000 pieces, I understood for the first time humanity's ability to vocalize such grief. But at the same time, his lament made me accept the undisputable reality of our friend's death. Okabe's scream was evidence that Mayuri really was dead. Up to this point, I'd been deluding myself into thinking that those items they found and the corpse were all fake. That way I'd be able to say that I couldn't accept Mayuri's death until I saw it with my own eyes. But I was just lying to myself, pathetically trying to obscure the truth, the opposite of what a scientist should do. That's right, I understood the moment I saw the hat and cell phone on the screen. That our precious ally, our friend, was gone from this world, that I would never see her again. But I couldn't accept that, not like this. It's why I tried to say it was fake, to separate it from reality, to fool myself. But that's nothing more than shallow folly. The reality is before my eyes, the truth stands before me. I know that, I understand, I accept it. She's gone. Mayuri is gone.
Why can't I save her?
At the same time, I can't allow myself to be lost in grief. Both because the scientist inside me still wants to maintain control of the situation at hand, and because I'm in the presence of someone in a much deeper state of grief. Okabe. Beating his head with his fists and crying, Okabe continues to wail. I grab his hands, hoping to get him to stop hitting himself, but he quickly breaks out of my grasp.
Why am I here? I made the time machine. Punish me! Kill me instead! Why? Tell me, why does it have to be Mayuri?
He screams into the void, cursing the Rounders and CERN. His screams held such pain, it felt as though they could tear apart the heart of whoever heard them. Though no matter how much pain his listeners felt, his pain was worse. Stop, Okabe. If this keeps up, you're going to destroy yourself. I couldn't take it. I hated seeing the person I love reduced to this. Seeing the person I love in such pain. Is there something I can do for him? Anything? Why can't I help alleviate his pain? Helplessness and despair consume my heart. These are not my own feelings, they're Okabe's. His voice alone filled me with his agony and grief. Ferris-san and I couldn't do anything for Okabe but embrace him. It was all we had left in us.
Do forgive me.
Kuroki-san extends his hand. Suddenly, Okabe slumps to the ground unconscious, just as he did yesterday. I hope that Yukitaka Oji-sama is willing to pay for a good head trauma doctor.
Right? Locking him out like this isn't optimal, but I fear leaving him this way would be worse. Remember, kids, the best way to deal with your trauma is to run from it.
I don't think that's the message. I think the best way to deal with someone else's trauma
is to make it not appear in front of you. Remember, if you're feeling despair, not in front of anyone else, you're not.
Oh,
We simply hold on to Okabe in silence, shaking our heads. Kuroki-san seems apologetic, but he provided Okabe with more peace than we could. We have no right to object. This is how useless we are. Our combined experiences, my genius status. None of that means anything right now. Just as Okabe laments being unable to save Mayuri, I am unable to save Okabe. I can't even start to ameliorate his pain. If only I had Okabe's reading Steiner ability, I could use the time leap machine to change places with him. But even that is nothing but a wish. Okabe, Okabe, Okabe. I hold on to him, muttering his name over and over as he'd done with Mayuri only moments before. I can sense Yukitaka Oji-sama and Kuroki-san's concerned eyes on me, but this is all I can bring myself to do. My cell phone rings and snaps me out of it. I open my cell phone automatically and press the pickup button. Papa?
Ah, again?
Please. Papa, Okabe, he needs help. Okabe, Papa.
What? What are you...
Help me, please. I can't. Okabe, I can't save the person I love. Feeling useless and awash with despair, I break down sobbing and crying the moment I hear Papa's voice. Not because of the trauma, trepidation, and fear I associate with him, but because I heard the voice of the one who loved me and watched over me as a child. And Papa, taken aback by my tears, seemed like he couldn't even begin to get mad or scold me. Though it was only much later that I realized this. I don't remember most of our conversation, but I was probably babbling incoherently. The overwhelming stress, the years of friction between Papa and me, and the helplessness of being unable to save Okabe drove me close to infantile regression. I'd let my emotions run wild, something I would normally try to avoid, in front of Papa of all people. What I do remember is that I repeated Okabe's name and help over and over. Neither my dignity as a scientist nor my appearance and manners as a member of society remained intact. I was simply overflowing with raw emotion. It's a wonder I was able to communicate anything at all. But during this time, I was amazed that Papa was actually patiently listening to me. Maybe my unusual behavior convinced him that something was really wrong. He may have tried to interject at one point or another, but if he did, I didn't hear it. He certainly didn't hang up on me, at least.
Ah.
By the time I began to come to my senses, I had been venting my emotions at Dad for more than 20 minutes. At that point, I was just sobbing. Papa, please.
You gotta be kidding. What is this? What do you expect me to do? Just help someone I don't even know?
My heart grows cold, as if he'd stabbed me with a sword of ice. Time seemed to stand still. I forgot how to breathe for a moment, and my lungs struggle for oxygen.
May I handle this one?
Eh?
Yoink.
As I struggled to wrap my mind around my father's response, Yukitaka Oji-sama took my phone from my hand.
It's been a while, Shoichi. Want to kill you to call your old friend every once in a while?
Still stunned, I watched Yukitaka Oji-sama talk to my papa. Between papa's cold words and my worry over Okabe, I didn't have it in me to do anything else.
Kunyan.
Ferris-san comes over to me and gives me a hug.
Scooch, 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 hug.
But because I still haven't regained my cool, I hung on to her. Ferris-san, I...
Just leave it to Papa for now. Kuroki is taking care of Kiyoma too.
Huh? At Ferris-san's words, I look around the room and realize that Okabe had disappeared. Apparently, Kuroki-san had taken him back to his room from the night before.
All this would be too much for Kiyoma to take in right now.
It was as if I'd half reverted to a child. Okabe's reaction earlier had done something to me. I could hardly bear to witness it. Something in Okabe's mind must have snapped, worn out by the horrors he had witnessed. To cope with trauma like this, people often become numb and nihilistic, or mentally destroy themselves in their grief.
But that couldn't happen.
Though in either case, the outcome is the same. They lose who they once were. Okabe was simply experiencing the latter. The weight of his grief has even deeply impacted me, and I'm only feeling his suffering by proxy. I never thought anything other than my father could make me give in to my emotions like this. But what I'm going through speaks volumes about the tragedy that Okabe has experienced.
Hey, Kunyan.
Uh-huh. Ferris, seeing that I've calmed down a little, speaks to me, still holding me tight.
Yesterday, Kiyoma said that he saw Mayuri die over and over, and that he leaped through time over and over to prevent her death.
Uh-huh. Ferris gently caresses my head and keeps quietly talking to me, patting my back from time to time.
So if we tried to do the same, we could save Mayushi, right?
Bringing a friend back to life. If there were a way to do so, people would reach for it, no matter the cost. Making a time machine the forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit. Gelbanas.
Oh, one of those things? I tried one of them. I found at the lab once. It's kind of tacky.
Yeah. As a scientist, I understand the weight of what she's asking. But even so, there was only one way I could answer. We'll save her. We will save Mayuri. I'll make sure of that. Perhaps this is how Okabe felt when he witnessed Mayuri's death. My logic and ethics are pushed aside by the dangerous allure of the time machine. Even if I have to risk everything, if there is a way to save Mayuri, I will find it. No matter how grave a sin it may be, no matter how it defies the laws of nature, if there is a means to an end, humanity will take advantage. Even if I had to give up my principles, if I can save Mayuri, to hell with them. If I can spare Okabe his pain, to hell with them. I'll bear the weight of my sins. I'll accept my punishment. An acceptable price. To give her her life back. Knowing full well that this defies the natural order.
Kurosu-chan.
Yukitaka Oji-sama addresses me. Still with cell phone in hand. He's still on the phone.
You should talk to Shoichi. I got him to agree to help.
Huh? Lies. Papa, help? What does that even mean? Seeing my numb response to his unbelievable words, Yukitaka Oji-sama placed the phone on the table. He then proceeded to turn on the phone's speaker function so everyone could hear.
Okay, go ahead. You haven't changed, have you? I can never tell if you're listening or not. Then you manage to flatter people into taking action, huh? Didn't I tell you? That's an invaluable technique in this business. Now I gave them both essentially the same voice. Whatever, I don't fucking care. Now, talk to her. Fine.
While I haven't fully grasped the situation, Yukitaka Oji-sama and Dad are exchanging words. This is the first time I've heard Papa's voice free from anger or scorn in a long time.
Kurisu.
Papa? Hearing him say my name so suddenly surprises me, almost making me break out in a cold sweat. What I managed to say barely qualifies as a response.
Yukitaka gave me the gist. There's a lot I don't understand, but it doesn't sound like he's joking.
He falls silent for a while. It seemed he was having trouble finding his words. It's not surprising. Even I had trouble accepting the phone wave when I first saw it. Between my crying and Yukitaka Oji-sama's persuasion, he does seem to realize that we're not kidding, but I imagine he's finding it difficult to sort everything out in his head.
Let's start from the ground up. Kurisu, did you really manage to build a time machine?
Yeah. We built it together, but it doesn't really look...
Using which theory? Wormhole? Or did you manage to find superluminal matter? You didn't find an antiparticle, did you? Or you could have converted the sun's rays for a near infinite supply of energy, but that's too unrealistic, which would mean it must be...
Papa interrupts my story to start interrogating me, though I couldn't tell if he actually wanted me to answer his questions or if he was just thinking out loud. That's a regular occurrence for scientists, but it was remarkably frustrating in light of what was going on around us.
Hey, Shoichi, you're getting sidetracked.
Yukitaka Oji-sama apparently felt the same way as I did and rebukes my father. Maybe he put me on speaker so he could support me this way.
I know, Yukitaka, but if I don't understand everything clearly, I can't give you any advice. We can't even make plans. You got a point, but somebody's life is on the line. We don't have much time, so please.
He was clearly unsatisfied, but didn't seem unhappy. Perhaps he's taking this more seriously than I expected.
Fine. Kurisu, tell me about the principles behind the time machine you've built and what's going on with it now.
Right. Although I'm still processing what's going on, right now I certainly felt like our shattered father-daughter relationship was beginning to mend.
So, you're trying to tell me you've succeeded in generating Kerr black holes?
That's right. I'm not entirely sure how we did so, though. I spent about an hour telling Papa about the time leap machine. I was surprised to find that after my explanation, he was able to accurately identify the time leap machine's capabilities and limitations. As we spoke, we faxed documents to each other, some of which included information that I had overlooked, so this hour was full of surprises. This is the same sort of feeling I get while I'm discussing things with Okabe. Given our understanding... I'm not going to unpack that right now. Given our understanding of the time leap machine and considering CERN's moves, the conclusion we reached was fairly straightforward.
So in light of the current situation, the only option seems to be using the time leap machine to go back to the past and change things. Once you do, if you want to send a D-mail, there's only one option. That kid Okabe Rintaro is the only person with the reading Steiner ability.
Wait, Papa, that's impossible. I had considered that plan once before. How well does the time leap machine work? How can D-mail allow us to improve our situation? Both of these questions face a single roadblock. How will what we do change the past? To my knowledge, I have not yet directly experienced a changed past phenomenon. We can only go by Okabe's reports of his experiences. Needless to say, if the past changes, our memories, knowledge, and experience will change with it. To observe that the past has changed, one must retain the memories of the pre-changed past.
Okay. That's got to be what this is building up to, then. It would got to be her dad being like, hey, that's what you built, dumbass. Go do it.
Otherwise, there's no way to confirm it. That's why only Okabe, whose reading Steiner ability can retain memories of the pre-change past, can notice the phenomenon occur. Honestly, I've found the concept hard to believe since I first heard it. In fact, my belief is entirely predicated on my trust in Okabe. That said, we have accumulated a number of pieces of evidence pertaining to changed past phenomena over the course of our D-mail experiments. But we have none for the time leap machine. Based on what Okabe told us, it seems as though the time leap machine hasn't resulted in any changed past phenomena. Despite Okabe's scant, vague testimony, Papa and I reached a hypothesis that changed past phenomena do not result through the use of the time leap machine. We think the time leap machine only allows one to send themselves back through time, not to change said past. But we can't say for certain. For example, Okabe currently is saying that changed past phenomena do not occur as a result of the time leap machine, but what if that's only because he didn't take any action that would trigger such phenomena? Much like when we began our D-mail experiments, we do not clearly understand what sort of trigger causes the changed past phenomena to occur. And given the delicacy of the situation, we cannot afford to take uncertain measures. In other words, just as Papa said, Okabe is the only person who can solve this. The only one who can interfere with time and actually be aware of the changes he makes. But we can't let him do so in his current state. Okabe is so worn out that he can't take anymore. I thought I explained that, but...
I know it's impossible, I'm fully aware of that. But does saying the impossible is impossible solve our problem?
Well...
Saying that you can't do the impossible is easy, but science's value lies in overcoming the impossible.
I don't need Dad to tell me this. It's obvious to any self-respecting scientist. What is impossible today will become possible tomorrow. My professor at my old lab often quoted Tsiolkovsky's words. But be that as it may, the impossible is impossible. While there's value in overcoming the things people claim to be impossible. But optimism doesn't let people breathe underwater without the appropriate apparatus or travel to space using a cannon. Saying things like that are possible is nothing more than junk science.
But, Shoichi.
As I was fumbling for a response, Yukitaka Oji-sama interjected.
I'm inclined to agree with her. As far as I understand, it would be difficult to have him do anything right now. I thought you'd say that, Yukitaka. Oh, why's that? Nah. Who do you think you're talking to? Did you really think I'd overlook something so basic? You underestimate me.
Hey? What is he saying? Completely at a loss as to what my father is getting at, my face goes blank.
Who do you think I am? I understand that this Okabe kid is completely worn out, but the fact remains that he's the only one who can solve this situation, right? Which means we have to make him usable again at all costs. You said you've been trying to save your friend Mayuri, right? We'll have to make him regain that motivation.
Papa's comment is logical and coherent. If one ignores the sheer impossibility of that idea, that is. That's impossible. In order to do that, we'd have to convince him that Mayuri really can be saved. The reason Okabe had lost all of his hope and had become so broken is because he thought Mayuri's fate was inescapable. That no matter what he does or how many times he tries, Mayuri cannot be saved. Conversely, if we could prove that Mayuri can be saved, Okabe may recover. But I don't see how that's possible. I just can't think of a way to save Mayuri. Nobody in the world could.
Of course you don't see the answer now, but to say nobody in the world could is a fallacy.
Huh? What do you mean? Are you saying you know how to save her?
Stop being absurd. The fundamentals of science are observation, investigation, and experimentation. How do you expect to find an answer when you're only investigating testimony without any observation of your own?
Huh?
Get in the time machine, kid. I didn't raise a quitter.
Ferris-san, Yukitaka Oji-sama, and I were all puzzled by Papa's remarks.
Still don't get it, do you? Observation is a vital part of your research, but you can be blinded if you're overwhelmed by what's directly in front of you. Kurisu, this is your current state.
I'm blinded by observation? Papa explains, why can't we find a clue to saving Mayuri? Because we have a severe lack of information. Why is that exactly? Because not only do we only have one source of information, but obtaining clear information from that source is very difficult. In other words, we have not been able to extract sufficient information from Okabe, the person with the clearest grasp on the situation, and the only one who has observed it in detail. At the end of the day, neither Ferris-san nor I have been able to talk normally to Okabe, making us unable to obtain information we could have obtained had he been in a calmer state.
If only he hadn't kept being knocked out.
There's no contesting that, but Okabe had already been exhausted because of the Rounders' raid by the time we were able to speak with him. Mayuri and Hashida had been kidnapped and taken somewhere out of our reach. I understand what you're saying, Dad, but that's just an armchair theory. We can't get any more information from Okabe. There isn't anyone who could.
No, there is.
Papa speaks confidently the way he used to. I haven't heard him sound like that since he answered every question I asked him on my birthday 7 years ago. There is? Who? Who are you talking about, Papa? Do you know them? Tell me.
Allow me to clarify. The person does not exist right now, but they do in the past. It's you, Karasu. If you really want to save this kid, you are the only one who can do this.
The past? Me? The past? Before Mayuri had been kidnapped, before we encountered the Rounders. Perhaps the me that exists at that point would be able to ask Okabe about the future, and find a clue to saving everyone from there. At least, according to Papa.
Leaping to the past on its own isn't good enough to change things, but going back will give you the opportunity to do so. As long as the time leap machine only allows you to travel into the past and not change it, things won't get better. We need to trigger a changed past phenomenon. Your job is to provide that trigger.
Papa's idea is for me to leap into the past, and to tell Okabe to rely on the past me. No matter how you look at it, we don't have enough information. And we can't currently extract any from Okabe. Right now, what we need are information and time. And even after I leap to the past, we'll probably only gain an hour or two at best. Unfortunately, if I try to leap to a time before Okabe tried to break the time machine, it may take me a while to figure out what's going on. And if I try to time leap repeatedly to make up for that lost time, there's a possibility that I may inadvertently trigger a changed past phenomenon. If that happened, I wouldn't know whether the past changed or not, because I lack the reading Steiner ability. That would render our entire plan meaningless. Just because we don't believe the time leap machine causes changed past phenomena doesn't give us free rein to make time our plaything. Directly helping Okabe and taking steps to find a clue to solving our problem is a risky, temporally dangerous proposition. Somehow, I have to convince Okabe to leap back to a more manageable time, and have him tell the me of that time period everything he knows. If the Okabe of a better time can provide me all the information he has, that me will be able to serve as Okabe's guide. In short, there's only one thing we can do: convince Okabe to go and change the past, and in the process get him to stand back up. That's it.
That's right. We may not be able to talk to Kyoma now, but we can talk to the Kyoma from yesterday afternoon.
And with this information, the past Karasu-chan can find a clue to help get us out of this, huh?
It sounds cruel to say, but in our current timeline, it makes perfect sense that Okabe ended giving up on Mayuri. I don't blame him, but knowing Okabe, if his past self finds out about what happened in this timeline, he will shut down. If that happens, we'll fail all over again. But even if that does happen, I can't blame him. The shock would be overwhelming for anybody. That's why we must eliminate all possibilities that may lead to this.
You have exceptional knowledge. You have exceptional theories. Mobilize every talent you have and guide the kid and save him. Only you can do this. You, where you stand, are the only one capable.
Only I can do this. Standing here. August 13th, 2010. Akihabara, in this place where I work with Okabe, is LabMem 004. Yes. Yes, got it.
On top of everything else, there are other things that could go wrong. In order to carry out the plan, your past self must believe in his preposterous story.
That's right. Even if I was able to invigorate Okabe, if he can't receive the support from past me, this will all be for naught.
What could you do to make your past self believe something like that?
I run simulations in my head. If he were to tell me about the current situation without the despair he exhibited earlier, I wouldn't believe him. There's no question. I would probably laugh it off with a cool story, Otsu. I wouldn't give it a second thought. Frankly, it sounds like convincing myself is the biggest problem of all. I know myself, of course I can't do it, but if I were to go back and tell myself the same story, I still wouldn't believe it. It has to be Okabe, but how can I make my past self believe Okabe's words?
Do you have any secrets, like a star-shaped birthmark on the base of your neck?
What?
The Joestar family birthmark.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Nothing like that.
Oh,
Besides, if Okabe told me my most closely guarded secret, there's a 100% chance that I'd beat him up, and I would win. If someone that I liked asked, "You like me, don't you?" I can't imagine I'd take it very well.
Yeah, that's true.
Ah,
what's up? Did you figure something out?
a light bulb flicks on in my head. I do have a secret, one that I rarely tell people. I gaze into the cell phone on the table as if to look at my papa on the other side. Yeah, I think so. I'd probably believe Okabe if he mentioned it. There is one secret in particular. One that leads to a soft spot in my heart, the most sensitive part of me. It's what I desire the most. A fork. I want a fork.
The fork.
Huh? What?
Huh?
When I was a kid, I wanted it more than anything else. I begged Papa for it on my birthday, my personal fork. This is part of my backstory now. The fork.
You don't remember? This is part of it.
Wait, had she always wanted a fork? Was this part of the backstory? Because the fork was the plot thing that was said, but was it clarified that
She had always wanted a fork, or just wanted a right? Because the way in the game, the way she phrases it was, "I just wanted my own silverware for the lab."
Yeah.
This is a little bit more elaborating on it.
Since then, that fork became something that touched my heart, a symbol of Papa's love for me when I was little. A symbol of love that I could have received had our relationship not shattered on my birthday 7 years ago. An object inexorable from my childhood heart. That is my personal fork. What I want the most right now is my personal fork. If Okabe says that, my past self will probably believe him.
Nah.
Papa is silent. Maybe he knows what I'm talking about. But he won't say a thing. That's just how it is.
A fork? That. Oh, wait, hold on. A fork? Oh, that. Yeah.
Then Yugitaka Oji-sama opens his mouth. That? What does that mean?
Shut up, Yukitaka. Don't say anything else. It's that present for Kursu-chan that you left at my place, right? Kuroki, will you fetch it?
Yukitaka Oji-sama? Wait a minute. What is he saying?
Yukitaka, now is really not the time. No, it is. I've held on to it for long enough.
Dad and Yukitaka Oji-sama continue to argue over the phone. While I tried to follow the unfurling drama, Kuroki-san brought out a small, slightly crushed box. Though the colors were faded, the box was beautifully wrapped.
Here you are.
When Shoichi fought with you 7 years ago, he came here exhausted and left this here. Said he bought it for his daughter, but didn't have any use for it anymore. Yukitaka!
I take the box from Kuroki-san and start to unwrap it. As I thought, inside the box was a fork with an adorable design.
Fork friends? Nyan?
This is
Fork friends?
such a good CG. Oh my god.
Fork buddies?
I didn't know this was the CG I needed, but...
Celeb Sev crying while holding her fork.
Farrah's here too.
I remember. It's the one that I begged Papa for. Something I've wanted for a long, long time. Something I've yearned for in my heart for a long, long time. And it's finally here. Papa! I thought I would never have it. My personal fork always needed to be a present from Papa. But here it is now. It came to me 7 years later. Papa, thank you.
Ah! Yeah. Thank you, Hitaka. He's the one who kept it all this time. It's got nothing to do with me.
I see. Being a tsundere runs in the family.
No, you're not very honest, are you? Yuki Taka, just shut up already.
Nyan? Nyan. I'm doing an eyebrow waggle. Fork friends.
Come on, Shoichi. Oh. Come on, Shoichi. If you don't drop the stoic act, you may just end up telling your daughter how you feel in front of her corpse. Ah.
Papa struggled to choose his words. After a series of tiny groans, followed by silence, he finally mutters.
Is that important to you? Your past self will surely believe Okabe if he brings it up. It's all I can do for you, Yukitaka. You're gonna have to make up for putting me through all this mess. Yeah, I know.
Papa. Sensing that the call was almost over, I address him one last time. But surprisingly, he cut me off and addressed me.
One last thing, Kurisu. That kid Okabe from earlier.
Huh? Oh, yeah?
When all this is over, drag him out to Aomori and bring him to me. He's got to apologize to me for all this trouble in person.
With a final rant, he hangs up without saying goodbye. Papa!
Aw, he hung up.
Yeah, but it's okay. Somehow, at this very moment, my heart felt refreshed. All this time, I thought he didn't love me. Worse, I thought he hated me, that he'd forgotten about me. Even though he's holding his feelings and emotions back, I'm still getting to see them. This may not be unconditional love, but it certainly was at one point. I examined the fork in my hand, and I am filled with the confidence that I was, in fact, loved. He even told me to come visit, so this is only the beginning. Well, who knows if that invitation will still stand once the past changes. I still don't yet understand what the sort of phenomenon that Okabe claims occurs when the past changes. I trust Okabe, but it's a subjective unilateral phenomenon, and as long as it cannot be observed without the reading Steiner, we can do nothing more than guess at its effects. If the past changes and the reading Steiner activates, does it mean that he travels to another parallel world, or does it mean that our world disappears? If the past changes, what happens to our current memories, experiences, our feelings? What about each person's individual wishes and desires? If what Okabe says is true, it could be that when the past changes, all current events are rewritten. But there's no telling whether that's true or not. If, after all, if my feelings still remain, I will definitely go see Dad, with Okabe, as he told me.
Kunyan's papa said to bring Kyoma to Aomori. I can't wait.
For what? I raise a questioning eyebrow at Ferris-san.
Well, Kunyan, you did call Kyoma the person I love, didn't you?
What did she say?
Straight. So now I'm curious what would happen if you brought Kyoma to Aomori. I can't wait.
That's right. Looking back, I did say that. I told Papa that I'd love Okabe. Help me, please. I can't. Okabe. I can't save the person I love. I grab my head and I fall into the oars position. I said it. I really said it. To Papa, of all people. What have I done? What should I do?
Well, you gotta take him now.
She's absolutely right. She's right, but Why? Why did I have to come out with that now? And to my father, no less.
Now, nya.
Said Ferris-san as she patted my head.
Pat, pat, pat.
Could this be... Is this the butterfly effect? It took me more than 10 minutes to recover. Okabe. Once Papa hung up, Ferris, Yukitaka Oji-sama, and I finalized our plans. But before heading over to the lab, I wanted to check on Okabe. He looks better rested, thanks to Kuroki-san's treatment. Good. Rest. You don't need any more pain. I gently caress Okabe's cheek. Then Okabe shakes his head and grimaces.
Mayuri.
He must be dreaming. About her. But it doesn't look like a pleasant dream. Okabe, hold on. I promise to free you from this nightmare. I'll leap to the past, just as you did for Mayuri. It's funny, isn't it? I had such an aversion to the idea of a time machine at first. My aversion to time machines. It was born out of my rejection of my father's obsession with them. But now I have no such aversion. Especially after learning the truth about CERN's research, getting myself involved in the development of a time machine, and realizing that time travel is more than just junk science. But even putting aside my aversion, I do feel as though using the time machine myself is taboo. The time machine puts godlike power into our hands. It defangs causality, allowing you to change the past and erase history as we know it. And changing the past is against my personal creed. Papa and I had a big falling out 11 years ago. I wouldn't want to change that painful event just because I have a time machine. Everything that has occurred in my life has shaped the person that I am today. Losing even a single event would make me a different Makise Kurisu. And as long as this is true, I have no need to change the past, nor do I think the past should change, at least as far as my personal past is concerned. So I'm doing this because of you, Okabe. Because you decided to leap through time over and over again to save Mayuri. Okabe said that the first time was instinctive. He said that it was the only way he could think to save Mayuri, and his body moved on its own. And once he started, he couldn't stop. Human beings are like that. That's why people shouldn't become so dependent on power, or play with forces beyond their control. But knowing the circumstances around his decision, I don't blame Okabe. Besides, my beliefs are my own and not his. In other words, the time leap I'm about to perform isn't something I'm doing myself. Rather, I'm standing in for Okabe just this once. Besides, we had no other option. And if it weren't for Papa persuading me, there's a chance that I wouldn't attempt a time leap at all. Of course, none of that is to say I would put that burden entirely on Okabe. Ultimately, it was my decision. I can't stand seeing Okabe like this. There's no doubt that my desire to save him is a powerful motivator. Sometimes one must take action, even if it goes against their beliefs. While it's common among scientists, it's the kind of situation I never wish to encounter. But that's why I promise to guide you. For Mayuri, for myself, and for you, Okabe. Oh, right, and for Hashira too. Though he might be able to escape on his own if he doesn't get killed. Honestly, I'm kind of scared. Even though I created the machine, there's no guarantee that it will work like I expect it to. But when I think you leaped in spite of the danger, I feel selfish. Of course, it is possible that the time leap machine wouldn't work properly on someone without Okabe's reading Steiner ability. It may function differently based on a person's age and gender. Newly created technology always brings with it a number of unknowns. But Okabe leapt through time for Mayuri without a single assurance. So, I want to do the same. That's right, for you. But even with my newfound determination, I'm really scared. I can't help it, no matter how much faith I have in my theory. That's why I'm sorry. I know it's unfair to ask, but please give me courage. I look at Okabe's sleeping face and move closer to him. I put my hands on his shoulders and slowly, gently draw closer, so close I can feel his body heat. Then I place my forehead against his. Bonk. I bring my thoughts next to his thoughts, and we exchange breath and body heat. Okabe, I love you. Despite your Chunibyo nonsense, despite how weird and clueless you are, despite your nerdy Norse mythology obsession, I love you in spite of it all. I know you only call me Christina, Assistant, Celeb Sev, and the Zombie to get on my nerves, but eventually I'll have you call me by my name, straight to my face. That was my one-sided confession to a sleeping man. A confession that was unfair in some ways and meaningless in others. I don't expect him to respond. In fact, I'd probably never live it down if he did. And it was for nothing more than my own satisfaction. But for now, that's good enough. I don't intend on ignoring Mayuri either. I can make my official confession some other time. This was just a sort of ceremony to receive the courage I need, a ritual. With slight reluctance, I pull my body away from Okabe's. I wanted to stay with him a while longer, but I don't have a lot of time. If the Rounders decide to make a forceful move against us, it could all be over. When I stand up and look at Okabe, I can see that Okabe's once pained expression has turned into a more peaceful one. His breathing is normal and sounds healthy. Yeah, he's going to be okay. Alright, Okabe, I'm leaving. I open the bedroom door and step out into the hall to the living room.
Ha! All that dramatic BGM was really starting to get to me.
I saw Ferris waiting for me. For some reason, she was sighing with disappointment. Huh? What is it, Ferris? I realize how suspicious I must look, given what I was just doing in there.
Kunyan. From now on, I'm calling you Wimpy Nyan, nya.
I feel my body temperature spike. I'm sure my face is bright red. Wait, Ferris-san, you weren't peeking, were you?
I didn't need to peek. I can see right through you using my Cheshire break. Allow me to explain. Cheshire break is Ferris's transcendental demon eye. It allows me to know a person's feelings with a single look in their eyes, nya.
Which she does. She is just good at reading people canonically, so. Oh.
What just happened? Okay.
I accidentally clicked out of the thing. It's still going. It just cuts out the music for whatever reason.
Anyway, I didn't know Kunyan was such a wimp. I'm shocked, nya. Nya. If we had more time, I would have said take two and made you do it again, nya. Oh, wait, we have all the time in the world. Go back and make me do this again. No, make you do this again. Come on, do it better. Chop, chop.
Who knew Ferris-san would be like this? She has a weird style of speech and even gives people weird nicknames.
Without my cat ears are my inhibitors. Without them on, I just kind of I'm left wild.
Between her and Okabe, why does Akihabara draw so many weirdos?
Keep that up and I'll end up stealing him away from you, nya.
Said Ferris with a devilish smile on her face. She looked so cute that even I might fall for her. Okabe wouldn't stand a chance.
Damn right.
Geez, stop kidding around.
I know, I'm just joking. No need to worry. For now.
How did you say a heart emoji?
Right? Fucked up, isn't it?
I know that Ferris's true feelings are no joke. Even if I'm not good with people, I understood this much. But if someone told me to compete with Ferris fair and square, I would be in real trouble. I don't have the wealth of experience I need to deal with competition like this, especially with everything else going on. I don't think I'd even have the mental capacity for it unless we saved Mayuri and the situation stabilized.
Oh, so if you really want to stand a chance against me, you gotta fix things, yeah?
Did you just read my mind with Cheshire Break again? Could she really have some sort of psychic power? No, of course not. As a scientist, I can't accept that. but that would mean she has incredibly sharp intuition. Now I'm curious. I want to study this.
Nuh-uh.
I'd really like to conduct some experiments with Ferris as my test subject. But I have to hold off for now. I know, that's why I'm going.
Yep. Oh, we're back.
That should do it.
Yeah, good thing they didn't take this, even though that was their stated objective to come steal this. I mean, we guarded it with like what, one guy? I guess it helps that it looks like trash, so maybe they mistook it.
Before long, we had made preparations and returned to the lab, where we now stood in front of the time leap machine.
Sure hope there aren't any entirely coincidental factors that go into making this work that you aren't aware of. I've confirmed that the big TV downstairs is on, Kunyan. Oh, you already know it this time. Never mind.
Thanks, the lift is ready too. With that, I activate the time leap machine. Now all that's left is to put on the silly hat and press the enter key.
Why'd you put cat ears on it? And by you, I mean what? Me just now with super glue. I bring extras with me everywhere I go. It's almost time, Nya.
Ferris-san came over and held my hand tightly. Yeah, this is the moment of the century.
Or will have been the moment of the century.
This will have going to be the moment of this century.
Fucked up, right?
Since Okabe has already used the time leap machine, this won't be the world's first instance of time travel, but it does mark the dawn of time travel experiments. And I will become one of the pioneers. The fear I felt earlier had waned, replaced by feelings of elation and curiosity. But at the same time...
Nope. I'm back.
If I time leap, my reconciliation with Papa and the gift of my personal fork will be undone. I'll be sending my current memories to a me who exists in a time before I spoke to Papa. After that, I'll be putting all my efforts toward helping Okabe instead of reconciling with him.
Nope.
If I didn't time leap, would Okabe someday be able to accept Mayuri's death and go to Aomori with me? My mind wanders toward these possibilities.
Turns out
One
no.
less competitor.
Wait, what? Turns out no. I'd just get weirdly into alpacas.
But I seal away all of the confusion in my heart. My pride as a scientist, my feelings towards my father, they are minor compared to what's at stake. This is how it's supposed to be, right, Papa? Okabe.
Yup.
Mayuri. Hashida. It's all up to me now. The destination is yesterday, around 5:30 p.m., when everything was bathed in twilight. If Okabe were here, he would say that I'm going to a place that's neither day or night, but somewhere in between. Twilight. Tasogare. The Japanese word comes from how hard it is to see people in the unusual lighting. People would ask one another, "Who are you?" Tazokare.
Oh, our dreams at twilight. Our dreams at dusk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'm on board. I'm on board.
I remember one of my upperclassmen at Victor Condoria telling me about the mythology of his home country. Once upon a time, the god of lightning forged a deal with a demon. The deal read, "The demon shall not, day or night, be harmed with anything dry or wet." But in order to defeat the demon, the god of lightning created the twilight. And to slay it, he used a weapon made of the bubbles of the ocean, something neither dry nor wet. In another myth, a demon was said to have obtained immunity to humans, gods, beasts, and other demons, whether day or night, inside or outside. In order to oust it, another god became a fusion of both lion and man, which was classified as neither beast nor human, and during the twilight, defeated the demon standing in a doorway, neither outside nor in. That's what he told me. Perhaps the moral of this myth is that when you're presented with two losing options, keep calm and think about whether there is a third. By using reason...
You got something you need to get off your chest?
When presented with two impossible options, think about that third secret thing.
Wait, which one are we watching right now? I don't think this one's relevant. Can we skip to the next one?
By using reason or by thinking outside the box, you can always find a third option. How oddly suited Twilight is to untangling the mess of causality in order to arrive at the correct option. What am I doing, thinking of myths at a time like this? But I suppose that's just how we are. Most scientists are just romantic chunibyo. Spend enough time around them, and it's only a matter of time before they rub off on you.
What's the matter, Nya? Hey, Kunyan, we're hug buddies now. We bonked. We totally hugged. Boop.
Don't worry, it's nothing. Okay, I'm going to leap now. Take care of everyone.
Just leave it to me, Nya.
I smile at her and then put on the headgear. Electricity arcs through the air, which, come to think of it, seems pretty dangerous, and my surroundings are consumed by a whitish blue light. The ground shudders below my feet. Let's go. Let's fucking go. I press the enter key on the keyboard. My body shakes as if I'm caught in the middle of a large earthquake. It's enough to throw me into the air. It felt like my body was about to make the leap along with my memories. No, that's not what leaped. Was it the world? What is this? Ugh. Ah! A ringing in my ear pierces deep into my brain like a metal pair of forceps. It feels as though the cells of my central nervous system are being torn apart in every direction, down to the atomic level. Sight, sound, touch, smell, taste. All 5 of my senses ignore my brain signals and receive information of their own accord. And it's not just my senses. My heart starts acting on impulse, running through emotions until it feels like I'm about to burst. Observe, analyze. I have to determine what this is. Extreme nausea and drunkenness erupt through me. My sense of gravity grows vague, and I'm jumbled around back and forth, side to side, and up and down. The image of the world reconstructs in my brain as if an artist put it together out of scattered mosaic tiles. That's right, I remember the future. This is the worst feeling. The world gradually comes back together. As my vision grows clearer, the mysterious sounds and sensations withdraw, as if I'm awakening from a dream. When I come to, I'm curled into the fetal position on the floor of the lab. The rays of sunset beam through the window. We really need to experiment. I didn't think it'd be this bad. I'll keep that in mind for later. You could ride a roller coaster over and over again and still not feel this sick. This is valuable data. I wonder why. Does the brain get confused by memories that theoretically shouldn't exist and force the body through a series of illusions? It can't be a simple physiological phenomenon. But Okabe could have warned me. At any rate, I still feel sick. This degree of discomfort would make it dangerous for anyone frail to use. They'd be consumed by it. Could this be one of the reasons Okabe broke down the way he did? I can see how this would wear on you. I'm sorry, Okabe. I managed to keep the contents of my stomach where they belong and check the time on my cell phone. August 13th, 1724. The time leap was a success. Success being a relative term, I've been in pain for about 10 minutes now. I wonder how it was for Okabe. From what I observed, it didn't look like his time leaps took as much out of him. Did he get used to it? Or maybe the effects vary between men and women, or from person to person. Besides, Okabe has the reading Steiner, too. I sluggishly pull myself to my feet. I have to get to the bridge in front of the UPX, like Ferris told me. If she's right, Okabe should be there. We only have a couple of hours before Mayuri dies. Considering it was around 7 p.m., I have an hour and a half. I have to reinvigorate Okabe and send him back to the past within that time. I know this is the only way. If Okabe has to time leap, It means he has to go through this same discomfort. Okabe, I'm really sorry. I'll upgrade it to make it less physically taxing next time. To keep Okabe from getting too concerned, I won't tell him that I performed a time leap to be here. That's the rule. Let's go. Wait for me, Okabe. The effects of the time leap were unexpectedly intense. I didn't expect the road to feel this long. I can normally get there in no time. It takes all my strength just to keep my legs moving, and every breath is a struggle. Eventually, however, I make it to the front of UPX. There. Just ahead of me, I saw Okabe crouched down in the middle of the UPX bridge. Even now, he looks so despondent. It was hard for me to believe that Okabe could look so depressed. For me, this was a mere 20 hours ago, but for him, it could have been a lifetime. Just seeing him like this nearly brings me to tears. But crying now would be meaningless. I didn't jump back in time to cry. I must reach out to Okabe. That's what I should do. Something only I can do. Hey, Okabe. Just how many times have you remembered your horrible memories from the future? How many times have you witnessed Mayuri's death? In the middle of this city, overflowing with sounds of joy and excitement, you have fought alone, and it's reduced you to this. Unable to rely on anyone else, torn apart in body and soul. The agony and despair are breaking you. I'm sorry, I've watched you all this time, but I never realized. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I made you fight alone. Hey, Okabe, I don't want to see you like this. I want you to call me by those weird nicknames. Assistant, Christina, the zombie, Celeb Sev. They're annoying, and one day I want you to call me by my name, but it's more like you to call me by those nicknames. I want that you back. Hey, Okabe. Am I going to be able to show you the right path as worn out as you are? Will I be able to help you? I want to save you. I of course want to save Mayuri and Hashida too, but most of all I want to save you. I don't want to hide this feeling from myself. I already opposed my own beliefs for it. I erased reconciling with Papa after 10 years of thinking he hated me. So, Okabe, next time, I want you to rely on me. On me, your ally. On me, your assistant. If you do, I will absolutely show you the way. I take a deep breath, suppressing the emotion that almost crushes my heart. I stand in front of Okabe, begging my voice not to tremble. What are you doing sitting around, you DQN idiot? When I call out to him,
Pathetic.
Okabe slowly lifts his head and looks at me with hollow eyes.
So, okay, I see. Clever. Hey! God, I love this game. These are all really good.
Yeah.
And like they're varying wildly in tone and like depth and like how I'm good, but like it's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Just how like good they all are in different ways. So next time, we'll be starting Suzuha's Ghostly Rendezvous.
Exciting.
There's also Mr. Braun in the middle there, and FN2, Ferris Nyana.
What is the divergence on that one?
Yeah, those are high ones. Let's see, because the divergence on this one makes sense, right? Because anything less than 1 means they haven't gotten to Steins Gate yet.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing 3 just means that they are far, far off, given that Suzuha was entirely different here. Right? And then again, I don't know. You'll just have to wait next time and see. I hope you're enjoying these. I'm enjoying getting to bang these out every once in a while. And I love hearing a different voice and perspective on the cast of characters that I really have grown to adore. So
Yeah.
I hope you're all enjoying it too. We'll see you next time for Suzuha Route. And I hope you all have a great day.
Yeah.
Especially you, Dave. I know we usually give you a hard time here on the channel, but you know what? On this one, Dave, you can take the dub.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.